Picture this. It is 1988, late September. The Toronto Blue Jays are in Cleveland, a city that smells like lake water and broken dreams. On the mound is a man with the most violent slider in the American League, a pitch that doesn't break so much as it disappears. He has already thrown 26 immaculate innings tonight. No hits, no errors, no runs. He needs one more out, one single out to complete one of the rarest achievements in all of professional sports, a no-hitter. He gets 2 strikes on the batter. The crowd, in Cleveland mind you, rooting for the visiting pitcher, holds its breath. And then, a base hit up the middle. Just like that, the no-hitter is gone. 6 days later, the exact same man takes the mound again. And the exact same thing happens. 26 outs, no hits, 1 batter away, and then another base hit, another heartbreak, another near miss so cruel it feels scripted. Most pitchers endure one of these moments in a lifetime. Dave Stieb endured 3 of them, including a perfect game bid that ended with 2 outs in the 9th. And yet, when you ask the average baseball fan to name the greatest pitcher of the 1980s, they say Nolan Ryan, they say Roger Clemens, they say Jack Morris, they almost never say Dave Stieb. That is not a matter of opinion. That is a historical injustice, one that modern sabermetrics has quietly, methodically, and devastatingly exposed. This is the dark reality of Dave Stieb's erased dominance. Before we talk about numbers, let's talk about the man. David Andrew Stieb was born in Santa Ana, California in 1957. He was not, in any traditional sense, a pitcher. He was a hitter, an outfielder prospect at Southern Illinois University who had thrown a grand total of 17 innings in college ball, mostly in relief. When the Toronto Blue Jays selected him in the 5th round of the 1978 draft, they made him a proposition: become a starting pitcher, and we will get you to the big leagues faster than any other path. He agreed, and they were right. 1 year after being drafted as an outfielder with barely a season's worth of minor league pitching under his belt, Dave Stieb was starting games in the major leagues. He was 21 years old. His team lost 109 games that year. And Stieb posted 7 complete games as a rookie. 7 complete games. In his first year. On the worst team in baseball. What followed over the next decade was one of the most quietly dominant stretches of pitching in the modern era. 7 All-Star selections, an ERA title. ERA finishes in the top 5 of the American League in 1982, 1983, 1984, 1985, and 1990. A no-hitter in September of 1990, the first in Toronto Blue Jays franchise history, completed after 3 consecutive near misses that would have broken lesser men. He finished his career with 176 wins, a 3.44 ERA, and nearly 2,900 innings pitched. He holds the franchise record for complete games, strikeouts, and innings pitched. And his career wins above replacement of 56.9 is the highest of any Blue Jays player. That number is going to matter a great deal in a moment. To understand why Stieb has been so thoroughly forgotten, you have to understand how baseball fame is manufactured. In the 1980s, the currency of pitching greatness was wins, not ERA, not strikeouts per 9, not WHIP, just raw, team-dependent wins. And in this department, Dave Stieb was perpetually robbed. Stieb pitched on the Toronto Blue Jays during their developmental years, a franchise that did not even exist until 1977. He was consistently giving up fewer runs per 9 innings than almost any pitcher in the American League. He was generating outs at an elite rate. And yet, because his offense couldn't score, and because his defense was inconsistent, and because baseball had no tool to separate what a pitcher contributed from what his team contributed, Stieb's true value simply didn't show up in the counting stats. Meanwhile, Jack Morris, pitching for powerhouse teams like the Detroit Tigers, was stacking wins. Morris won 140 games during the 1980s, the second most by any major league pitcher that decade. He was celebrated, he was voted onto all-star teams, he was eventually inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Jack Morris, by every modern measure, was significantly less dominant than Dave Stieb. During the 1980s, Dave Stieb posted a WAR of 48.1 and a 126 ERA+, Jack Morris tallied a WAR of 30.3 and a 109 ERA+. That is not a small gap. That is nearly 18 wins of difference, almost 2 full elite seasons, between the man we remember as the decade's defining pitcher and the man we largely forgot. ERA+ tells us how much better a pitcher was compared to league average. During the 1980s, Dave Stieb's mark was 17 points higher than Morris, but the individual seasons make the case even stronger. In 1982, 1983, and 1984, Stieb led the American League in WAR. 3 consecutive seasons, 3 years where, by the most comprehensive measure of pitching value, he was the best pitcher in the American League. And the voters barely noticed. In 1984, he posted a 146 ERA+, the best in the league. He received 1 Cy Young vote. 4 times he was deep into history. 4 times a single hit erased it. But the most brutal stretch came in 1988. On September 24th, Stieb carried a no-hitter into the 9th inning against Cleveland. With 2 outs, a single broke it up. 5 days later, September 30th, he did it again. Another no-hitter into the 9th. Again with 2 outs, another hit ended it. Then in 1989, he retired the first 26 Yankees. A perfect game through 26 outs. 1 hit ended it. 3 separate moments. 3 separate brushes with immortality. Finally, on September 2nd, 1990, he completed his no-hitter, the first in Toronto Blue Jays history. After years of heartbreak, it felt less like celebration and more like the universe finally settling a debt. There is another reason Dave Stieb was overlooked. His personality. Stieb was blunt, intense, combative. He did not perform friendliness for reporters. He stared down teammates after errors. He demanded perfection from everyone around him. Meanwhile, Jack Morris remained on the ballot for years before eventually being inducted. But modern analysis tells a different story. Dave Stieb's career WAR surpasses many Hall of Fame pitchers. His ERA+ compares favorably with several Hall of Fame pitchers. And yet his name rarely appears in Hall of Fame debates. Dave Stieb's story ultimately reveals something bigger than one pitcher. It reveals the limits of memory. For decades, baseball measured greatness using wins. But wins depend on offense, defense, and luck. Sabermetrics asked a different question. What did the pitcher actually control? When those questions were applied to the 1980s, Dave Stieb emerged as the most dominant pitcher of the decade by several advanced metrics. The numbers did not change. Only our understanding did. And when we finally learned how to read them, they told us something surprising. Dave Stieb wasn't just good. He was one of the greatest pitchers of his generation. And the dark reality of his dominance isn't that it didn't happen. The dark reality is that it took baseball 40 years to recognize it.